Hello!
Hello?
While The Sea Beast is certainly geared toward younger viewers, there's a lot about that film that children are not gonna fully get. We noticed, and so today we're gonna bring you some scenes in The Sea Beast that were definitely made for adults. Number 1. It's not so fun risking your life every day. Early on in The Sea Beast, the notorious and legendary Captain Crow nearly drowns in the ocean after he and his crew narrowly defeat a brickleback. Shaken up by the close call, he does a fair amount of staring off into the distance afterwards, and brings Jacob into his cabin to have a long-awaited discussion about passing the captaincy of the Inevitable to him when he retires.
On the day we take the Red Bluster, I will make my last entry as captain.
While it's a touching moment, nobody addresses the obvious. Captain Crow is dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, both from this last scare and as well all these years of being a hunter. Number 2. It wouldn't be a pirate film without some sea shanties and rum. This is a lot of drinking for a kid's film. One might say a little too much for the kiddies. At one point, they even mention some debauchery, which is defined by Webster's dictionary as the excessive indulgence in sensual pleasures. So yeah, I don't think that statement was meant for a young audience, nor would they be the ones to fully grasp it. Number 3. Is this a swear word or no? After Jacob and Maisie's encounter with the Red Bluster, a disgruntled Jacob says to Maisie,
"You got it backwards, lass. I had it dead to rights and you bollocksed it up."
Not very appropriate for a children's film, depending on how offensive you find the term. However, as Carl Urban is the voice actor for Jacob and from Australia, he probably didn't notice the swear word. It's also not too bad depending on where you're from, so it looks like Netflix let it slide. And to be fair, for pirates, they do a lot less swearing and talking about more adult themes than historical pirates likely would. Number 4. Well, let's address the monster-sized elephant in the room. This isn't a film about making friends or building a treehouse together. The entire film is about hunting monsters, and they are being hunted before our very eyes. Not off screen, not in a thematic, general way. We are watching these larger-than-life creatures having their lives snubbed out. I mean, that's not a very kids' movie move. The first beast even has its tentacles chopped off and spews black blood everywhere. I don't remember a scene like that in How to Train Your Dragon, though How to Train Your Dragon 2 did have that one scene. Number 5. I thought kids were agreed to be off the table for heroes and villains. Not in this film. It's not often you watch a kid's movie where they point a gun at a little girl. Captain Crow is one such anti-villain in the film, where, in his rage, he threatens to shoot both Jacob and Maisie. Only adults will fully comprehend the ramifications of an adult threatening a child with a gun. Number 6. This isn't a simple thorn in the lion's paw situation. Jacob and Maisie join forces to remove all the spears from Red. This scene's full range is lost on most children, as adults will notice all the scars and cuts on poor Red and fully comprehend the many years of attacks the character must have been through. Clearly, the idea of Jacob coming to terms with his own part in that after seeing his insignia on one spear was caught by all viewers, but you'd think adults who are more likely to have dealt with more violent anti-wildlife moments in their lives will be more deeply affected by this subject matter. Number 7. Do children know the definition of working class? Ultimately, The Sea Beast doesn't have the ability to show a violent revolution while remaining family-friendly, but it's still full of moments that emphasize working class solidarity over the powers that be. Not exactly a well-known children's idea. The credo of the hunters, for all those who come before and those who come after, has a strong guild-like vibe. While the monarchy displays its true colors early on by objecting to the inevitable, diverting course to save fellow hunters in peril. When you take all of this into consideration, it becomes clear that The Sea Beast is a movie about revolution, as the collective wisdom and will of the people win the day in the end. Number 8. Only a deeply political person will truly appreciate these scenes. The Sea Beast cleverly analyzes the way people so often scapegoat certain communities, and often justify the endless cycle of violence and hatred based on misinformation or cultural influence. After her first encounter with Blue, a decidedly friendly and adorable little sea beast, Maisie experiences her first doubts about something she's been taught her entire young life, and asks Jacob,
What if them things ain't as bad as they say?
Jacob dismissively responds,
We kill them because they kill us.
But as the evidence mounts, even Jacob, whose identity is built entirely on the narrative that humans are righteously defending themselves against the evil of the sea beasts, eventually has to ask,
but if that ain't true, then how are you supposed to know what is?
That profound question may not be able to be answered by this or any 2-hour animated film, especially a children's animated film, but at least it's getting asked, and we may walk away from the sea beast pointed in a better direction. A little wiser, but without any specific answer, which, as we all know, kids kinda need a straight answer. They don't like these ambiguous questions. Number 9. While we're getting deep and philosophical, while there are many creatures in the sea called beasts, it seems the real ones are on land. The film supports the idea that the greatest foes are actually humans and not some great beast that need to be slayed in the unknown. A tough pill for kids to swallow. Number 10. But we argue an important one. Remember all those stay alert, stay safe ads for kids on TV? This is like that, but much more philosophically challenging. Kids love heroes. Adults sort of know the deal. The sea beast also reckons with the legacy of their forebears' action with the deceptively simple line,
You can be a hero and still be wrong.
in just a few simple words, the movie upends centuries of straightforward good versus evil storytelling and provides clues for viewers of all ages about how to find your own moral compass instead of letting it be dictated by the whims of royalty, nations, or society. In its more complex rendering of the question of good and evil, the Sea Beast provides several lessons at once on top of the always welcome message of you don't have to fear the unknown. Number 11. Another important lesson felt stronger by adults than children. The film isn't happy enough just to stop at exposing the majority of the characters' recorded histories as a lie. The Sea Beast takes the message even further by having young Maisie take an active role in reshaping the future of her kingdom. It's a rousing, powerful moment when she tells Jacob,
I ain't done.
after saving Red's life. A moment most children's films would be happy with just ending right there, but instead makes a speech to the gathered populace that will end the war once and for all.
Our books, our history is a lie.
She stops Red and Captain Crow with a stern look, and then undoes an entire military-industrial complex with some choice words. Maisie knows that changing the present is only half the battle and recognizes the importance of our stories and the way they shape the future. She tells Jacob that the books of adventure will outlive both of them, and in a palpable way are what actually happened, even though they both know them to be a lie. With just a few simple lines from the mouth of its child protagonist, the Sea Beast hints at deeper forces that bend progress, or lack of progress, in our countries and populations, and the big task we have in reshaping a story while it's still being written. Number 12. A wonderful bit for kids to learn, but another one that takes an adult to fully grasp. This next message was clearly meant for adult students of history. Probably the biggest and most relevant takeaway from the Sea Beast is the idea that just because things have been one way, and indeed are written up in the history books that way, doesn't mean you should trust or accept them. Jacob and Maisie learn that the heroic and epic stories they've been told about hunters is whitewashing the hunters' actual role as the aggressors in a needless conflict. The way we frame our own history in stories and textbooks is a significant concern, as it has been largely told by the nation-states that have conquered and colonized the world. The history that many have learned is one without much nuance, acknowledgement, or moral ambiguity, or understanding of other perspectives. So the Sea Beast offers an important first step for children and adults who haven't yet questioned the history of our world, or perhaps want to, but aren't sure where to begin. Children would say, wow, that's terrible, I hope that never happens. And then the adult in the room has to be like, well, sorry to break it to you, kid, but... While children will have a great time watching the Sea Beast, their parents will certainly be exchanging some looks. And we're here for it. Anything we didn't mention that you noticed in the movie? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe for more content. And thanks for watching The Things Animated.